welcome to The Blueprint, powered by K Marketing Co. I am so excited for our guest today, Alex, from the Lancaster Chamber. And before we get started on our topic today, which is community over competition, building supportive business circles.
Love it.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
And Emma, who's our producer of the podcast, when she brought this subject to me specifically, I thought of no one but you to handle this one. And just getting to know you through the Lancaster Chamber, and also following you on LinkedIn and just hearing some of your story, I have seen not just in your role at the Chamber, but just you as an individual, and was like, okay, I want to dig in. I want to get to know you more. And I think this is a perfect topic.
I appreciate that.
So before we dig in, tell us, Alex, a little bit about you, your role at the Chamber.
Man, yeah.
Why you love being on this planet, all that good stuff.
So, my name is Alex Piazza. I am originally from Erie County, so I'm a transplant from Erie.
You are a transplant.
Here, it's funny because I'm getting ready to hit a tipping point where I'll be in Lancaster County longer than I was in Erie County.
Yes.
So I moved here to go to school. Graduated.
Where'd you go to school?
So I originally started at LBC.
Okay.
And then I did 3 years there, and then I graduated from Millersville.
Very
so
nice.
I ended at Millersville, yeah. So studied history. That's always been my bread and butter. I've been with the Chamber as an employee for a little over a year now, but I was a member before I was an employee. I was a partial owner in a jewelry store downtown and sold, and I kind of puttered on my dividends from the sale, saw the Chamber position and applied for it, and then harassed Tom nonstop for what felt like years until he hired me out of pity. But no, I love working with the Chamber. I mean, it's like...
it seems like such a fitting role for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I get to be out and about and do stuff like this and get paid to do it.
Yeah, I mean... You get paid to talk all day, right? And connect people.
Yeah, I'm feel like I've always it's like Anthony Bourdain for Lancaster County. I just get to go out and about and spend time with people.
My first professional job was as a kitchen and bathroom designer at a plumbing wholesaler. And so I always love to say when people are like, what do you do for a living? And I would be like, I sell toilets. And they're like,
where were you at? Can I ask that?
Yeah, Thomas Somerville.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
So yes, yay, Thomas Somerville. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I got my roots. It's where, I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah.
And I love businesses that take a chance on young new graduates. And
the Chamber took a chance on an old one.
Yeah, well oldies and goodies are good too. But I think that, a lot of things that I saw is that today, a lot of companies aren't giving them a chance.
No.
They want this huge list of experience, and I'm really grateful for where I am today and the roots, that I would not have gotten if somebody didn't say yes to me.
That's community at its finest.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready to dig in and answer some
Yeah.
questions? All right, so from your perspective, why is community over competition such an important part of the local ecosystem?
I thought a lot about this one. I thought a lot about all of these questions, but this one kind of stuck in me because we live in this or that mentality. You can either have this or you can have that. You either can be a competitor or you can have your community. That's probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's this, you have to create your own internal flexibility with this, where you are in and around, especially when you're working with a group like the Chamber, or we talked about the High Center. You're in and around your competitors on paper. I think finding ways to be at peace with that is challenging for a lot of people, because
it's an interesting point.
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think realizing that, for me, it's numbers. So there's a lot of businesses in the area. I think the last census for the county was there's 16,000 some odd businesses, and then I can't remember how many just individual people. There's enough room for everybody.
Right.
You fill your role, your competitor fills their role. So finding a way to be at peace with that, and then finding ways to collaborate, I think is the name of the game right now.
Yeah. I think that even with the collaboration, I love that there's 16,000 businesses just in Lancaster County. Yeah. And I love that when I get asked the question, who's your competition? And I just say, I'm just paving my own way.
Yeah.
I'm not looking what everybody else is doing. And I think if we go into it better that way, you know, you can learn from your competition too, you know, and just saying, hey, how are you finding the market trends?
Yeah.
And if they're like, the market's fine, then you'd be like, okay, have a great day.
Yeah. I think my biggest competition more often than not is like the person on the other side of my head.
Yeah.
You know, like just like, you know, like how do I want to internalize this, or how do I want to think about this?
Yeah.
Like, it's just not worth digging into deep.
Yeah. All right. So what are some of the ways you see businesses actively supporting each other through the chamber?
Yeah, so this kind of goes back to like the sense of collaboration. So like the chamber we've got over 1,300 member organizations. I think the last count, there was like 19,000 some odd personal contacts through those organizations. So there's a lot of opportunity to interact with people. For me, seeing people kind of show up, and again, there's a spectrum. There are people that are showing up to things specifically to find business or talk about something that you're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. And then there's people that are literally, their business is the last thing on their mind. They're there to socialize, which is something like that's fine. Like I don't care. Like you showing up is important to me. That's vital to me. I think again, you know, the concept of interacting with one another is thinking outside of like who you definitely want to interact with or who you're there to interact with, and just kind of getting rid of that. Yeah. And just being open to whatever kind of comes your way. And that's a hard.
It is a hard.
It's a hard thought. Yes. Yeah. Because you're there, like, this is my time. Is this a for-cost program? I'm spending money for this.
Or if you're sending an employee, I'm paying the payroll for them to be there.
What are the KPIs on this? Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that you lose that piece that it is a network of people, and it's about building trust.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's not something that you can just say, I went to this and this came out of that. It is, I got involved in this and I chose to invest my time, energy into this organization, and return the organization and its members are pouring back into me.
Yeah, and you will sometimes leave something and you'll be able to plug something into your CRM. Like, you know what I mean? Or put a contact in your phone. Like that will happen.
That will, yes.
But I think, like, again, like you're not going to be signing contracts.
Right.
Like, you know, and I've seen that. I've seen people show up with stuff, and I'm like,
I mean, and
good for you. Like,
you literally could see those people, and you like beeline.
Yeah. And it's like part of my job is like a huge part of my job is like, like there's a small amount of my time that's talking to people that are interested in joining, but a huge amount of what I do is like coaching and like being like, hey, like, what are you, like, who do you want to meet? What are your goals? What are your strategies? Let's plan that out. And then like being there for them in those moments to be like, how's that working out for you? Like, do you want to like, let's think about changing trajectories. Right. So a lot of what I do is like as a trainer for that kind of stuff, and like helping them find the way to do that.
And I think I always use the gym membership analogy.
Tom Wallace loves that one.
But the gym membership alone won't make you fit and healthy. You actually have to show up in order consistently in order for it to have the impact that you want it to have. I will also say through the chamber, some of the things that I have loved is, as an employer, you know, don't put the dollar. Well, this is a Mary Kay saying that I think she stole from somebody else. I don't really know, but I'm gonna quote it inaccurately. It's fine. But that you put the penny so close to your eye that you don't see the dollar.
Interesting. That's a good one.
Isn't that a good one?
It's a really good one.
And that as a business owner, you're saying, well, let me take that employee's salary and times it by the 3 hours of the event plus the mileage reimbursement.
I've had somebody do that.
And then just say, what did you bring from that? You know, and as an owner, especially as a small business, it's really easy to get sucked into that. Yeah. And to remind yourself that part of your job is to help them build confidence. And some of that building of the confidence is just being put into these places where they can build that. Yeah. And also looking at your team as a whole and saying, hey, what things are a good place for you to be? Yeah. Where will you be impactful? Where will you grow in this? And helping them develop in that way is helping your organization as a whole. Yeah. And not putting all of that ownership on the owner. Yeah. You know, and empowering your people.
It's hard for owners to step back.
It is.
It's you know that.
I know that.
It's hard to let go of the reins in some capacity. I think it's interesting you brought it up your employees showing up to things. I love to see your employees. I love to see, I bring them, like your all of you, if you have a membership, all of your employees can come. So what I try to encourage them not to do is like, don't send all your employees to just one.
Because then they're just gonna then they're just gonna huddle together.
Yeah, they're gonna huddle together. It's like that herd mentality. But like, let's say you have an HR professional, send them to an HR roundtable. You have your finance committee, send them to some of the professional development. Like, there's something for everybody.
There's something for everybody.
That increases the likelihood of them meeting people.
Correct. And also for them, I'll just use the HR one for an example. We have a new person on our team really honing in on the HR department.
Good for
part
them.
of
Godspeed.
things for us. Thank you.
Yeah.
And not the chamber specifically, but a SCORE mentor that actually was talking to me about a speaking engagement, found out that she was an HR professional.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness.
It's wild.
We have a new HR person. Yeah. Do you mind just sharing some of your tips and resources?
Yeah.
And of course her answer was absolutely. And, just those relationships come from being actively having the right people at the right places. Yeah. And if you have somebody who's in HR or in finance, there may not be at that chamber event to get a new business contact for a new business, but them having another professional that's also working for a small business, they can help each other and be, a sounding board for each other because they're building an actual relationship because they're sitting at a table next to them.
It's great. Yeah. I love it. That's a great example.
Yeah. All right. So why do you think business owners sometimes hesitate to engage in community or networking spaces?
Well, I think there's all of these questions have spectrums, and you will inevitably have that business owner, Scrooge-like in the mentality, where what is the community going to do for me? That's inevitable. You're always going to have people like that.
Ask that?
Well, I think hypothetically.
Yeah.
There's
I was going to be I would like to meet the person who said that specifically.
If the shining star side of the spectrum exists, then the dark side of the spectrum has to exist.
That's fair.
And I think that's fine. That's cool. You know what I mean? Again, I think for me, community is always worth engaging in because it's what we do. You know what I mean? I think of, again, I'm going to use Scrooge here, but I was just talking with a buddy of mine about this, where when Marley shows up to Scrooge in the book and Scrooge says, well, why are you like this, Marley? You were such a good man of business.
Yeah.
And Marley says, the humankind, mankind, that was my business.
Yeah.
And I think some of the best businesses that I see, that I interact with, are businesses that are focused on building their brand, building their business, extending their radius or whatever, and then are just as passionate about involving themselves and their employees into doing community work, getting go plant trees, go to the food kitchen, go do these things, because we're there's always that selfish altruism that's always going to exist. We're we're going to do that because it humanizes us. Fine, whatever. You're still doing good. You're still supporting your community. But then there are my mind goes to I think of Josh Moser, at Moser's Roofing, an incredibly giving and charitable human. And he instills that and his team doesn't do it out of well, my boss wants me to do this, and my boss, he's created a culture where that bleeds out to the benefit of his business and to the benefit of his community. And I think of Austin Mountain from Peaceful Homes Property. He goes and runs a great business and is a great businessman, and then does everything he can to he got 1,000 boxes of food and diapers that he just got a truck and just handing it out to people. That's that's what compels business to move forward.
Right.
When you're in and among your community doing good, and you're not you're not staring at the penny. You're I just want to do this because it makes me feel good.
Right.
So,
I love that.
And I think the businesses that I see succeed rapidly, or not rapidly, I should sustainably, yeah. They're the ones that ground themselves within their community. It keeps them what is it? I'm at Brubaker, because I remember I was thinking about I got offered a role a long time ago to go back to Erie, and she told me, she's don't forget who buttered your biscuit. Lancaster County, and we were talking briefly about this, my recovery time, all of the period of life that I've had is a result of Lancaster community pouring itself into me.
You.
I want to do that
back to the community.
Yeah, I want to, just give and take.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a great aspect. And I say, and I can't quote it as an original statement either, but on your way up the ladder of success. All those people that you're going to see on the way up, your mountain peak will not be there forever.
No. Yeah.
It is a roller coaster ride,
yeah.
And everybody that you surpassed or belittled on the way up, you're just going to keep seeing them on the way back down, and you need to have those people to pour into you when you're in the valleys, because you poured into them on the way to your peaks, and that helps sustain you during that time. I have to share on that too, just something beautiful. So we just had our 2-year anniversary party.
Congratulations. That boggles the mind, to be honest with you.
Isn't it?
It feels like you're
like
feels
we've
like
always
20.
Been there.
Yeah.
I know. 2 years. Like I even said it to my husband the other day, and he was like, "That's not right." And I was like,
"But it is."
Like it is. And one of the most beautiful things that happened from that was we had a grand opening that we had done in April of May 2024 when we moved into the building, and we had our clients come and our families come and things like that, and it was not huge, it was there, and it was a celebration of a very new business and, our first step on the success journey. Right. And I'm not going to get emotional because it feels, I can feel it. I'm like trying to
Heather
do the whole
is, she always cries. She just says watermelon.
There you go. Watermelon.
Yeah.
When our 2-year anniversary happened and how many people came, we had over 60 people come. And the thing that shocked me was the amount of flowers and gifts and cards. I was not anticipating that. I was anticipating, and just that realization that when you pour into other people, it matters and it's making an impact.
And you don't know what that matter is going to be. You don't know what it's going to be.
No. And it was awesome. It was just, and to see even at the first, one that we hosted, the team was kind of nervous. We were all, kind of nervous and didn't know what to expect. And to see this one and just looking at them, and being in the season of look at everything they have achieved.
Yeah.
And look at who they've partnered with. And, and it wasn't just our clients, all the people that we met from just being in the community, coming and celebrating with us on a important milestone. They took time out of their schedule, and I don't know, it was just I went to bed that night and I was just like, thank you, Lord. You know,
it's like you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what your impact is going to be. You don't know what your legacy is going to be. And I think doubling down even onto the talking about your employees, your employees are in a form of an extension of the culture that you create. Yeah. So that's just it's just kind of multiplying yourself in regards as a founder.
Yeah.
And that's just to the you can and you see this and we talked about spectrums, you can pour into your employees and they can equally pour back, or you could be that type of founder that just takes and takes and takes and takes, and you're going to create a culture of taking.
Right.
Just constantly looking for taking.
Right.
So kudos to you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, kudos to my people. They're awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that they feel secure that it's a place that I have tried my hardest to make sure that I empower them. And I always say, I do not want to be a micromanager. I will when I have to be.
You don't have the time for it.
But I want you to take ownership and empowerment to do, the things that you are great at. And one of the things they loved is when we have book club, and we do different books that we do in our book club. And right now they're kind of doing some different books based on their roles specifically. But just even seeing how they take one concept, right, and how they run with it. And one of the books we read was EOS. What the heck is EOS? And seeing Ryan just take that and build the whole structure for us to run with that. And, Emma, I went and hugged her. We finished our handbook, which was a massive milestone for me.
Yeah.
And Emma got it across the finish line, and I come in and give her this massive hug and start crying.
Fun.
And she was like, "What do I owe this hug to?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "It's finished."
It's over.
So yeah, that's cool. All right. So how can business owners show up at networking events in a way that feels genuine and not transactional?
Okay, so this is one that I really thought a lot about because it's hard. How do you the best way to deal with this is to completely flip the concept. So, and I'll use my own experience as a chamber member before this. Go just looking to make friends. Like, don't go looking to build a connection. Don't go looking to build, like, just go looking to make friends. And I think my thing with this is, like, we live in a world where I can pick up my phone and I can call somebody. We're so connected, but we're so also at the same time so disconnected from one another. So events like this, like the programs that we do in programs in other places, if you go and you look and you're like, I just want to make a friend.
Yeah.
I'll think of when I was a member and I was going to things, I created 2 like lifelong friends out of that. Jay Gonzalez from Merrill Lynch and Bub Parker from UPMC Pinnacle. Like, those are 2 dudes that I would not have met as a result of anything else. And like, I can count on them for anything.
Yeah.
Like, we hang out, we get together, we joke, we talk about life, we ask each other for advice. And like, those things will eventually evolve into like I remember when Bub and I first met, we formed this friendship, and then we did a charity event through my jewelry store, and like, so things will happen.
Yes.
But if you go looking to make friends, like, you will make great friends.
Absolutely.
And I think even my time now as an employee of the chamber, like, I don't know, like, I've already listed so many of them, like Ed over at Moser's, Ed Hanko, and I think of like Colton Peliquin over at EHD. Like, these are people that I've met that I would not have met.
Yes.
That like, we like talk about like deep stuff, like we talk about fatherhood, like we talk about all of these other things. And like, when you remove like that internal barrier, which is so hard, especially if you're a founder, and especially if you're an employee that feels the pressure from your founder, that's a really hard thing to like get rid of, like the KPIs or how am I going to quantify this? Because the things that we do are they're non-quantifiable.
Right.
They cannot be measured. They cannot be invoiced. Like, that can't be done. So like, if you go and you're like, you know what? I just want to make a friend. Like, I just want to meet somebody.
Yeah.
And like, when I go to mixers and when I go to like the other things that we do, and I'm just kind of roaming around, I don't hear conversations about business. Very rarely do I hear conversations about business.
Yeah.
We're talking about vacation. We're talking about our kids. We're talking about this, that, or the other thing.
And it humanizes it. And then you feel so much more comfortable when you need that business.
Yeah.
Or somebody needs that business, you know that they're a true human with a heart.
Yep.
And that you can trust to say to that person at that point, hey, I know you need help with X, Y, and Z, and here's a connection that I have. And it's not a transactional connection. It's an actual connection because you know that you can refer that person and they're going to care as much about that business or that nonprofit as you do and as that founder does as well. That's a really good...
my best advice. Yeah, that's my best piece on that is, and it's hard. Like, it's hard. Yeah.
It is always hard to remember, and knowing the difference between the two and finding out who is there to build relationships and be open to that. We went to like a networking for introverts or something that Greg...
I bet that was fun. Oh, Greg
No,
Orth.
it was Greg Orth. It was a chamber event, I think. I don't know. But Greg...
Oh, Greg's good.
He was so good. And he talked about, too, on networking, he talked about, don't go in there looking to talk to everybody to work the room. Go in there, and even like from the introvert side, which... I am not an introvert, but like being out and talking a lot drains me, and I have to...
my battery dies very quickly.
And I have to recharge. And he said, and give yourself permission that if you go and make 2 genuine conversations, then you can leave. Instead of going in and saying, I have to be there for 3 hours or 2 hours or an hour, quantifying, that KPI.
Give yourself a goal.
I'm going to make 2 genuine new connections.
Yeah.
And then if I want to take the other 2 hours I'm supposed to be there and talk to my friends, great. But I made those 2 genuine connections and I've done my job.
Leave it to Greg. That's a great idea.
I mean,
yeah.
I think that now too. Shannon, who is our business development
She's
now.
everywhere.
She's everywhere. It was so funny. We were at something and I had such a long day and I literally could hear Greg in my voice that was like, table the long day, be present where you are, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I literally looked at Shannon. I was like, okay. And then I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
And we went in and she's all, blah, 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 being her beautiful self. And I literally walked over because we drive together. I walked over to her and I go, I made my 2 genuine connections.
Can we leave?
It's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was like, okay, we're going to go. But like I went in and I could hear.
Now, would she have said, have you made you didn't do it? Then no, we're not leaving. Would she have done that?
She would absolutely hold me accountable. And she didn't even know that I was thinking that. But she does know that that's usually, if I've had a long day, that is my threshold, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to go and I'm going to do the thing because I know that this is important for my business. I know that this is important for our community. I know that this is, and I'm going to be present at this as if this was a scheduled appointment with a client, right? Yeah. But I love Greg for that tangible too, and saying, I have done well and I may go put my jammies on now. Yeah. Let's go home. Yeah. Literally, my husband will know if, our kids are in lots of activities, right? And are constantly on the go. And I'm so grateful that I married a man that is like a workhorse and can go for 12 straight hours and do all the running and work all day. And none of it seems to tire him. And
good for him.
I can't.
Yeah.
And he will know when he walks in the door, if I am in jammies at 5, like he doesn't even ask if I'm doing any of the running. Yeah. Like my attire tells me I'm all done.
Locked in here, kiddo. Yeah.
All right. So what advice would you give to a business owner who feels intimidated or unsure about joining a chamber, a networking group, things like that?
I think there's a lot of like threads to pull out at this one because there's always something, you know what I mean? Yes. Whether it's time, whether it's about resources, whether it's about...
I feel like those are the number 1 and 2, time and resources.
Time and resources. And I think, there are, like, speaking from my experience, and then, like, there are other, like, there's a host of things that you can get involved in. So figuring out, like, where it makes sense for you to do, that's half the battle. Having an honest conversation about what you are able to, what you're able to do.
Yes.
What stage you're in is a big part because there's different things for different stages. I think what we do, like what I do at the chamber, I think we answer a lot of the questions for a lot of stages, but there are some that are very much like, you're in your late stage, like formation, or you're, early on and you need access. Like you got to think about where you're at. I think that the more that you do with honest intention, the better you will be. So coming from like the jewelry industry, like the old mentality is that if you like that first 5 years, like, and it's probably the same for you and any founder, is you're just hustling, you know what I mean? You're really putting yourself out there. And it's really easy to get caught up in the wrong thing or feeling like what you're doing and all the time that you're spending isn't productive. Just being honest with yourself, right? Like honest with your body and your mind and your spirit. But I think like you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
You can't do it in a vacuum.
Yes.
You got to start somewhere. And I think starting in one place will inevitably put you in contact with other places that make sense.
Yes.
Like we keep talking about like the high center. I think the high center is the next logical conclusion for a lot of our members. It's just really good formative information. We talked about work wisdom. I think work wisdom is another one that connects well. So there's branches of involvement, but not everything is for everybody. And the double-edged sword of Lancaster County is there is so much to do. And like you look at your calendar and you're like, oh my, there's 8 networking events.
You actually have to do your job.
Yeah. There's a joke like with our
producing of the product.
with our ambassadors that we have. Like there's this joke that they're like just gonna rent a bus and go from like one thing to like just do like a party bus to all this stuff. And like there's a lot to do.
Yes.
So like figuring out like who, like, and I think like there's a lot of soul searching when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like what is my identity? What is the identity of my business? Like who am I trying to attract? And I think there are a portion of business owners that are kind of like, we don't know, like they're, you know what I mean? Or they hit a point where they're like, they don't like that. But again, organizations like a chamber, any other community, they're like, they connect you to people, but they also help level the ground for your business goals.
Right.
So just get going, like get started. Like,
and I think it's a great point to be like, you don't have to do all of it, because a lot of founders are also high achievers. So, it's funny how that works.
The good ones.
And, our mentality is I'm going to do it all or I'm going to do nothing at all. Yep. And you kind of have to release that and say doing some is better than none.
Yeah.
And to don't overpack your schedule. And to learn the art of delegation. You know, the people that you hired are powerful.
Yeah.
And
you hired them for a reason.
You hired them for a reason.
Yeah.
They're part of your culture for a reason. And empowering them to do that, and to be your running mate in that, you know, even with Shannon, you know, like she came along just because I didn't want to go by myself. And then all of a sudden I was like, you are amazing at this. And her whole job has now morphed into this skill that we found
as a result of
trying something new, you know? So yeah.
I'll have conversations with people that are interested, and they've got like 45 employees. And or whatever. They've got a fairly large staff, and they're like, well, I just don't have the time to invest in this. And I'm like, it brings me joy to be like able to say, well, like, you don't have to come to anything.
Right.
You gotta come to anything. You can come to what you want to do, but like you got like so helping kind of bridge that connection. And I'm great. Like again, like the good and the bad of the chamber is we do 150, 160 events and programs a year.
Right.
My whole thing with us is like, if you show up to a networking event and a professional development event once a quarter, you're gonna start to see some type of
impact.
Yeah.
How does a collaborative mindset benefit businesses during challenging economic seasons?
Well, we're definitely in one of those.
Yes.
And I think
which might make the Scrooges arrive a little bit more in force.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing like, yes, be miserly. I will. That's fine. I have no qualms about talking about that.
Yeah.
But I immediately thought of, so my first jewelry job was with Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry. And I had a manager named Todd Hoffhines who always said that collaboration creates success. And like, that was his, like, as we worked as a team, as we worked with one another, like, that is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Whether you know it or not, like you're collaborating with somebody silently or willingly or unwilling, like there's somebody that you're working with to help achieve a goal. Again, going back to what we originally talked about with your competition.
Yes.
Your competition, more often than not, can become your strongest collaborator.
Right.
In a lot of ways. Like and I know you just spoke with her, like Emily Hess.
Yeah.
Like probably on paper looks like competition, like really good competition too. So finding a way like for that mutual benefit.
Right.
Because for me, there's either like in this economy, it's either like mutual benefit or essentially mutually assured destruction.
Right.
Like we have to work together.
Absolutely.
So again, like finding ways.
And how many times are we... I'll use Emily. I love her.
Yeah.
But I'll use that as an example. When we sat down at that speed networking event, that was the first time that we met.
Yeah.
We could have sat down at that table and said, we're competition.
You could have picked holes at one another.
Or we could have just like, hi, been cordial and moved on.
Yeah.
And we didn't. We set up a 1-to-1. And then we were like, oh, we actually do two very different things in the same space.
Yep.
And it will service our community better. It'll service both of our clients better, you know, and learning that piece. But how many times do we not even allow that to happen?
Yeah.
Because we just make assumptions that they're the competition when they're really not.
And, you know, there's this, like, you have to be willing to have those conversations. That's hard in and of itself. And you have to be open-minded, and that's hard within and itself. So there's a lot of roadblocks to getting out of that, like, my competition is my competition and never the twain shall meet. I will have conversations with people being like, hey, like I looked through this, I looked through your business directory, and there's a lot of people who do what I do. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's 1,300 of us or of you. But like and I get to see this is you will, and again, marketing I think is a really great example because there's probably clients that you will get that you're like, oh, that's not a great fit, but I'm going to introduce you to so-and-so. When the introducings to so-and-so come along, you want to be a part, like you want to be known.
Right.
And the best way to do that is to interact with people who do what you do.
Yes.
Whether it is, again, like, and it's like this like utopian, almost like capitalistic mentality of, and I think the county is a microcosm of that, where this creates true innovation. Because when you're interacting with your competition, you're brainstorming on ways to either create a new product or a new service or a service that maybe they do here, but we don't do there. Like there's like that fluidity to it.
Absolutely.
So that in of itself is fun. But again, like you can, like people don't know to refer you if you don't show up.
Exactly. And I mean, and there's going to be seasons in any business where you're going to run into a situation where you're going to have a client that something's outside of the scope of what your knowledge base is or your team's knowledge base. And you're going to need trusted people that you're going to trust with your clients to come in and help fill a gap.
Yep.
And you need to have those relationships in order to be able to do that. I don't know.
I think the one, like, I'll use, like, I think commercial real estate is a really great example right now, where commercial real estate, especially in the county, is in a really challenging place just because there isn't a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the big, like the names, the recognizable names have realized that we're either going to survive this together or we're going to die together if we don't find a way
to work
to
together,
change things.
Yeah.
And I think there's this other, and I'll encourage founders to think differently on this, because there's almost this, they're afraid to send their employees to things because they're afraid of their employees being like headhunted away. And I think, like, especially when it comes to like exposure to competition, I think you really have to let that go.
Yeah.
They're going to go whether they want to go or not.
Yeah.
Like that's almost an inevitability. I think if you hold too tightly out of fear of competition to your employees engaging, you risk losing them regardless. You probably risk losing them at a higher chance than if you expose them to things. Employees like to be exposed to things. They like to be exposed to different thoughts. You know, I think of developers. You know what I mean? Developers love to interact with other developers and talk about new ways to develop.
Yes.
So you got to let them breathe. You got to let them try it. See what happens.
You got to treat them like people and invest in them and see their value. I love that. All right. So how can a small business actively contribute to a strong business community, not just benefit from it?
This is actually my favorite question. So we talked about the 16,000 some odd businesses within Lancaster County. Only 3% of them employ over 100 people or more.
Really?
Yeah. So, and you think about your big, like, it's easy to look at the county and see like the big names, and like we've become a hub for a lot of those big names, especially in healthcare. So you think about WellSpan, you think about Penn Medicine, you think about Eurofins, you think about all these really big businesses with thousands of employees. And they're just easy to think of because they're the biggest.
Right.
They're big mountains, you know what I mean? But yeah, so only 3% of those businesses in the county employ over 100 people or more. So the chunk of the economic power resides with the small businesses. And then even regarding the chamber as a whole, I think a lot of people look at our chamber and think of like the corporate chamber. 86% of our membership is small businesses, so between 1 and 25 employees. So the strength of the county, why and if you look at any of the heat maps for Pennsylvania and you look at the counties and you look at growth and success and economic development, like Lancaster ranks very high. That is a result of our small business.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason...
And I feel like we have such a healthy small business community.
It's
when you go
wild.
other places, you don't... No, it's not like here.
Even like there's these little, like, and the county's massive. I've driven it tip to tip many times, once a week. And you get, like, you think of Lancaster City inherently, and you think of certain parts of the city that are just dense with great businesses. Then you go to Elizabethtown. Yeah. Downtown Elizabethtown is dense with great businesses. Yeah. Manheim, dense with great businesses. Small businesses, like scrappy.
Yeah.
Like, and I love working, like I enjoy working with all the businesses that I'm responsible for. But there are some small businesses that like, I just like they come to mind and like they are like raging against their size. Like they have just this innate ability to become what they view themselves as. Like it's like it's small dog syndrome. That's not probably the best way to describe it because they are strong on their own merit. But there's this like we're as a county, we're in a race to support them. And like we talked about commercial real estate. We have some businesses that are at like their wits' end because they're like, I've been looking for 4 years for a space to be able to grow into it. Yeah. And that is like we have to do better to like, it's like the like going back to like community and business, like we as a community need to do what we can to support them, to help them grow into that space. And we do that with so many different things. But the thing that I would like to see switch, and I think we're at this point, is I want small businesses to stop seeing themselves as a beneficiary of the county and start realizing they are the unique powerhouse of the county.
Community. That's a great statement.
Yeah, and like
that'll probably be cut into a short.
I can go like I can rant, like I can go till I'm blue in the face on just the power that small businesses offers, because like you think like if I got rid of, let's just say we removed a certain percentage of that over 100 employees or whatever, we would see an economic impact of that.
Yeah.
But if we removed if 20% of our small businesses are done, then like it is not economically sustainable for the county. So, and this is something that like my wife and I have been talking with our kids, is our kids have inherently, as just a result of the world, become consumers, and they've stopped, like they're not, like we're not customers anymore, like we're consumers. We're just consuming all this stuff, like thinking very strategically about where you spend your money, how you spend your money. Like Christmas was a great example of that. Like we tried to shop downtown as much as we could, like not going to Target, not going to like we're going to go take our money and give it to our neighbors. Like that's the easiest way to support our small businesses.
The Small Business Saturday
Small Business Saturday,
when you buy from me, there's an actual, little girl doing a happy dance.
Yes, like it is like, and again, like I talked about being from Erie, like Erie is about 20 years behind where Lancaster County is now. Like Lancaster County was fairly destitute for a long time. Not destitute, but like kind of stuck in a space.
Yeah.
And like it's good. Like I love going back home and seeing like those, like it's like a wildfire. Like you start to see like these things starting to grow out of just an absolute mess. And you get there, and like our small business community has powered that. But there's so much work that got us there, but there's so much work that remains to maintain it. Like we have to keep it up.
You have to keep it up. Yeah.
So, getting our small businesses to interact with one another, supporting one another. I know that you like to work a lot with small businesses when it comes to like their budgets and their goals and all that fun stuff. And that's really where that's where it counts.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that the more that every business looks at it as all of us working together in harmony is only making this a better place to live, a better place to raise our families. And, really, why are we doing all of this, right?
I mean, I think that there are some people that are like, wait a minute, like, what am I doing? Like, and I think like you'll get a point, and I love it. Like I go all over the county and I hear stories of like, we are at capacity. And like, I think about like, we got great examples, Fontana Candle. Like they went, I think it's a year, they went from like 12 employees to like 47 employees.
Wow.
And they're like, we are like nationally recognized. Like that's in your backyard.
Yeah.
So do you want to go give your money to a Yankee Candle?
Right.
Or do you want to go take that same money and give it to Fontana and get a better product? Like,
absolutely. Yep. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So to close it out, what is the best advice on building a meaningful business relationship in 2026?
I think it goes back to like, and I think it's not so much adding, but it's what can we take away from the mentality? Like what kind of prejudices can I remove? What kind of expectations that I can remove? A famous saying in the recovery community is expectations are just resentments in waiting. So if we have unrealistic expectations about what I'm going to get out of something, it will probably create a resentment. You'll either get a resentment towards the institution that you're trying to engage with. You'll get a resentment towards your employees because they're not producing what you expected. So I think like what can we remove from the scenario to create, again, a better experience with any of these groups? So, just get like removing those expectations, but then again, like you have to, like when you remove something, you have to replace it with something.
Right.
So I drive it home. Go send yourself, send your staff with the expectation of just creating more human interaction or engaging in more human interaction. Human interaction is the catalyst for all kinds of things. So when you trust humans to be their best form around other best form humans, a lot of really cool things can happen. And there's this like, and again, this is probably like recovery related, but we talk about like this, like when you're first in your recovery space and you think about, you imagine yourself 2 years out and what does your life look like? What is that dream? And like, and I just actually had this conversation too, is the life that I'm living now any different than what I imagined it would be? And it is way different, but I think getting, like, when you go into this imaginary, like, what is your space with your community going to look like? Imagine that and work for it and keep striving for it, because as you strive towards that goal, you know this as a founder, you have to keep making new goals.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite paintings is there's a man on a mountain, and it's like, we've probably all seen it. It's this guy standing on a mountaintop, like looking at the landscape in front of him, and it's shrouded in mist and higher peaks and all this fun stuff, and it's basically this encouragement to explore. And I feel like we are at our best as humans. We're in a state of curiosity and exploration. So like, and it's kind of something that, like, we've mapped all the oceans. We're the final frontier of space. Like, we know we don't get to go on boats and go to islands and anything like that, but we do get to go out within our communities and explore it and expand our own knowledge of who we are and what's around us. And like, you can't do that unless you go out and do it.
Yeah.
And these programs like that we do at the Chamber, that other programs do, they are ready-made. They are tailored for you to explore the things around you.
Yeah.
So just like, go do it.
Just go
try and do it.
Go try and do it.
Remove the expectations and just go see what happens.
And see, yeah. I mean, I think that's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And really just taking on a new year, and I hate the new year, new you, new la 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 la, right?
Your resolutions.
I put a whole anti-new year
My
post
resolution
on
is to give up more. Yeah.
On my LinkedIn last week. I was like, this is my anti-new year post.
Yeah.
But looking at, if you're stuck, if you're frustrated, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
And I love that you're saying, just go out and try, right? And if it's been 5 years since you've tried being part of a chamber or a networking community or anything like that, go try it again.
Yeah.
If you haven't done it since before COVID, like, newsflash, that was 6 years ago. Like, it's
don't even with that. Yeah. Johnson, 6 years.
But go out there.
Yeah.
Go do something, see what happens. And I will say, I loved what you kept saying. As a founder, you are becoming the bottleneck in your organization if you are holding that so close that you don't allow your people to bloom.
Yeah.
And as a founder, you're missing out on the beauty of one of the reasons that hopefully you started a business was to invest and pour into other people. And you're not allowing them the space to do that. And, there might be this beautiful greatness in them that is unrealized until you give them the opportunity.
There's a lot of discoverable potential. For sure.
And I will say, in our personal situation, having somebody that I can, now know is going to go and be the best representation of our business and build genuine connections is just, it's awesome.
And I love it too, because I can always, a couple weeks out from an open house, I can always expect to get an email from her.
Yep.
Do I have space? Yep. You got space.
Yep.
No problem.
She loves those things, man. Her and her bin, man.
Yeah. People lose it over that table.
I mean, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. We just had a
come
client
to the open house so you can see the table.
Come see Shannon's table. But she rolled it. That's wonderful English. She rolled it out for one of our clients we were talking to about like pop-up events and things like that. And Shannon was like, she was so cute. She was like a model, and she just walked in and she's like, this is my bin. And I just, me and my bin on our way.
Nice. So, I love that. Like Vanna White. Yeah.
Yes, here it is. Just go do the thing. Yep. So awesome. Well, thank you, Alex, for being our guest today.
Good to be here.
And pouring into everybody. And we will see you next week.
Absolutely.